Speaking from the White House today, Donald Trump announced that the Food and Drug Administration would begin advising doctors to restrict the use of acetaminophen, commonly sold under the brand name Tylenol, during pregnancy to protect from autism.
It's turning out that we understood a lot more than a lot of people who studied it. Just a few decades ago, 1 in 10,000 children had autism. So that's not a long time. And I've always heard, they say a few, but I think it's a lot less time than that. 1 in 31, but in some areas it's much worse than that, if you can believe it. 1 in 31. And I gave numbers yesterday. For boys, it's 1 in 12. I was told that's in California, where they have for some reason, a more severe problem. But whether it's 1 in 12 or 1 in 31, can you imagine? That's down from 1 in 20,000 and 1 in 10,000. The first day all of these great doctors behind me were there, I told them, this is what we have to find out. Because when you go from 20,000 to 10,000 and then you go to 12, there's something artificial. They're taking something. And by the way, I think I can say that there are certain groups of people that don't take vaccines and don't take any pills that have no autism. Does that tell you something? Is that a correct statement, by the way?
There are some studies that suggest that, with the Amish, for example.
The Amish, yeah. Virtually, I heard none. See, Bobby wants to be very careful with what he says, and he should, but I'm not so careful with what I say.
Effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying doctors that the use of acetaminophen or Tylenol can be associated with a very increased risk of autism, Trump declared. He mispronounced the drug's name, then emphatically added, "Don't take Tylenol, there's no downside."
First, effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol, during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good.
Medical experts swiftly condemned the statement, pointing out that Trump's claim has no scientific basis. The Society for Maternal Fetal Medicine notes that untreated fever during pregnancy carries well-documented risks, including miscarriage and birth defects. Acetaminophen remains one of the safest and most recommended medications for pregnant women dealing with pain or fever. Yet Trump went further. He urged women to avoid acetaminophen throughout the entire pregnancy, claiming, again without evidence, that it could increase autism risk. He did not cite peer-reviewed research or official FDA documentation. Instead, he leaned into long debunked theories, suggesting both acetaminophen and vaccines might be driving a supposed surge in autism diagnoses.
But if you can't tough it out, if you can't do it, that's what you're going to have to do. You'll take a Tylenol, but it'll be very sparingly. And you shouldn't give the child the Tylenol every time he's born and he goes and has a shot. You shouldn't give a Tylenol to that child. And they pump so much stuff into those beautiful little babies, it's a disgrace. I don't see it. I think it's very bad. It looks like they're pumping into a horse. You have a little fragile child, and you get a vat of 80 different vaccines, 80 different blends, and they pump it in. I don't even know structurally if a country can afford it. And that's the least of the problems. To have families destroyed over this is just so terrible.
The Trump regime's rhetoric around autism not only spreads medical misinformation, but also frames the condition itself as a societal problem to be solved or eliminated. By linking common medications and vaccines to autism, officials cast the neurodevelopmental condition as something to fear rather than a form of human diversity that has historically been tied to brilliance in figures such as Albert Einstein and other innovators, whose different wiring fueled extraordinary contributions. This framing dovetails with far-right eugenicist narratives that view anyone outside their narrow definition of the ideal citizen as disposable or defective. Instead of embracing the strengths, creativity, and genius that often accompany autistic perspectives, these movements seek to pathologize and eradicate difference, pushing a dangerous agenda that undermines both scientific truth and human dignity.
The MMR, I think, should be taken separately. This is based on what I feel, the mumps, measles, and the three should be taken separately. And it seems to be that when you mix them, there could be a problem. So there's no downside in taking them separately. Hepatitis B is sexually transmitted. There's no reason to give a baby that's almost just born hepatitis B. So I would say wait till the baby is 12 years old and formed and take hepatitis B. And I think if you do those things, it's going to be a whole different, it's going to be a revolution in a positive sense in the country.
Trump's remarks echo decades of misinformation spread by vaccine skeptics. During his press conference, he repeated unfounded concerns that vaccines may be linked to autism, despite overwhelming scientific evidence to the contrary. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, about 1 in 31 children in the US are diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder today. Scientists attribute this increase primarily to broader diagnostic criteria and heightened awareness, not to any single medical product. Nevertheless, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a longtime critic of vaccines, announced that he was launching a sweeping all-agency investigation into autism's causes at Trump's urging.
Today, we are announcing 2 important findings from our autism work that are vital for parents to know as they make these decisions. This announcement also represents a historic collaboration between NIH, FDA, CDC, and CMS. We expect this to be the first of many announcements over the coming years. Some of these same people have been silencing and demonizing these mothers for 3 decades. Because research on the potential link between autism and vaccines has been actively suppressed in the past.
Researchers emphasize that autism is a complex condition shaped by genetic and environmental factors. There is no single cause and certainly no evidence that pain relievers like acetaminophen, paracetamol, or childhood vaccines are to blame. Trump's rhetoric ignores decades of careful study, one pediatric neurologist explained. It simplifies autism into a political talking point rather than a nuanced medical reality.
Finally, to help reach the ultimate goal of ending the autism fever, the NIH will be announcing 13 major grant awards from the Autism Data Science Initiatives. And to be honest with you, to me, that's the least important. It's not even a money thing at this point. There's so much money. But they have to do, and they have to move quickly. When the alternative is that nothing bad can happen, let's do it now. I was just saying to Bobby and the group, let's do it now. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. But with Tylenol, don't take it. Don't take it.
Organizations representing physicians responded forcefully. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists called Trump's announcement irresponsible, warning that such pronouncements dangerously simplify the many and complex causes of neurologic challenges in children. The group stressed that discouraging acetaminophen use could leave pregnant patients untreated for fever and pain, which is far riskier to maternal and fetal health than the drug itself. Kenvue Inc., the manufacturer of Tylenol, also rejected Trump's claims outright. Sound science clearly shows that taking acetaminophen does not cause autism, the company said in a statement. Trump's announcement fits into a broader pattern of health policy under his regime, heavily influenced by Kennedy's Make America Healthy Again movement. Kennedy has long promoted the debunked theory that vaccines cause autism. His growing influence has unsettled many inside public health agencies. The CDC, in particular, has been shaken by internal disputes over vaccine policy, as Kennedy has filled advisory panels with figures skeptical of immunization. Recently, one such panel adjusted guidelines for COVID-19 and other vaccines, raising concerns that political ideology is overriding scientific consensus. Kennedy defended the regime's direction during the same press conference.
We are now replacing the institutional culture of politicized science and corruption with evidence-based medicine,
he falsely claimed. Ironically, his remarks came just minutes after Trump advanced claims that directly contradict established evidence. Trump hyped the announcement beforehand, telling reporters, "I think we found an answer to autism." Experts were quick to point out that no administration, let alone one in its first year, could plausibly claim such a breakthrough. Autism research remains ongoing, and while the National Institutes of Health has invested heavily in understanding the condition, no singular environmental cause has ever been identified. Compounding the confusion, Kennedy announced that the FDA had approved leucovorin, a form of folic acid, as a treatment for autism symptoms. The agency cited data from just 40 patients, some with cerebral folate deficiency, as justification.
The aggressive approach, and it is aggressive, demanded by the president and by the secretary, have already identified risk factors and opened the door for the first FDA-recognized treatment pathway for autism. The president is unwilling to wait 5 years for these results. So the president and the secretary are acting today with this tri-agency move. The administration's bold actions investing in groundbreaking research follow the science. They restore trust, which has been lacking, and they will change the trajectory for millions of American families. Mr. President, God bless you for being brave.
While leucovorin has shown promise in narrow contexts, experts warn that promoting it broadly as an autism treatment risks overselling preliminary findings and giving families false hope. Public health communication relies on trust. When a president and his top health officials promote claims not grounded in evidence, the consequences extend far beyond political theatre. Pregnant women may now second-guess whether it is safe to treat a fever, potentially putting themselves and their unborn babies in danger. Parents may hesitate to vaccinate their children, leaving communities vulnerable to preventable diseases. Families affected by autism may pursue unproven or unsafe therapies out of desperation. Experts argue that while exploring all scientific questions is valid, doing so in a way that disregards the existing body of evidence can be destructive. By elevating fringe theories about Tylenol and vaccines, Trump and Kennedy risk undermining decades of legitimate research while leaving families confused and misled.
Don't take it. Don't take it. There's no downside in not taking it.
Autism is a deeply complex condition, and families deserve clear, accurate, and compassionate information, not politically motivated speculation. As the regime doubles down on Kennedy's controversial agenda, the stakes for public trust in medicine could not be higher. Reckless health messaging erodes confidence, endangers vulnerable populations, and distracts from the real scientific work needed to better understand and support people with autism. People like my 7-year-old son. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.